My wife emptied our joint account and sent divorce papers by email. But I got my revenge. I got the divorce notice in my inbox while I was sweating it out in the Middle East. 13 damn years gone. Just like that. A single PDF attachment. My name's Noah. I'm 42. Staff sergeant with the 82nd Airborne. I'd been stuck in some godforsaken desert for 4 months when Olivia pulled the trigger. The subject line of her email? Let's be adults about this. The body? 3 sentences. She'd filed for divorce, she'd drained our joint account, and she'd already moved her new boyfriend, Troy, into our house back in Spokane. I stared at the screen, reread it. Twice. Closed the damn laptop, took a cold shower in the grungy communal stall, brew on my uniform, said nothing to anyone. That night, I crawled into my bunk and hit reply. Understood. That was it. No drama, no begging, no threats. Finn, my bunkmate, glanced over. Didn't even look up from his beat-up paperback. You good, man? Yeah, just crap back home. He nodded. That was the whole convo. Guys in the military, we know when to shut up and move on. Truth is, I wasn't even shocked. 6 months before I deployed, things had already started rotting. Little stuff at first. Olivia stopped giving a damn about my day. Suddenly, she was working late at the dental office where she answered phones. She hit the gym 3 times a week, but somehow never broke a sweat. New clothes, new friends I never met, new passwords on her damn phone. I didn't blow up on her. I didn't snoop or tailor around town. That's not how I roll. But I wasn't a fool either. So I started playing it smart. I got a storage unit across town. Stashed all the critical stuff. Birth certificate. Marriage license. House deed. Only my name's on that sucker, thanks to the VA loan. All my military paperwork. I even moved my granddad's old watch and my mom's silver into that same unit. The things that actually meant something to me. I had a second bank account. Different name, different branch, and I'd been funneling part of my paycheck into it for months. Just enough to keep myself covered if things blew up, but not enough for Olivia to notice anything off. I wasn't about to end up with nothing. The night before I shipped out, she hugged me at the terminal. Stay safe, okay? Like I was going on a damn business trip. Not a single tear, not even a crack in her voice. I should have taken the hint right there. But some stupid part of me held out hope she wasn't that far gone. She was.
What Olivia didn't realize was I'd been bracing for this. I never threw the first punch, but I always finish the fight. I met her in 2010 at a cookout a buddy threw. I was between tours, crashing with Mike in Spokane. She was about to graduate nursing school. Ended up bailing on that and taking an admin job at some dental clinic. Less pressure, she said. 8 months later, we were married. Back then, Olivia used to say she respected what I did, but she never really got it. Her old man was some suit at a bank. Her brother played pharmacist. No one in her world ever laced up boots for Uncle Sam. She used to ask, "When are you getting a real job?" Like I was playing dress-up instead of building a life in uniform. In 2014, we bought a place. 3 beds. Nothing fancy. Decent yard. My name was the only one on the mortgage. VA loan perks. But I added her to the deed because that's what you do when you're all in. My dad died the year after our wedding. Heart gave out while clearing snow. My mom followed 3 years later. Lung cancer, even though she'd never smoked. They left me a little money, not much, but enough to knock out our student debt and leave a buffer. I deployed 4 times while we were married.
2 to Iraq, 2 to Afghanistan. And every single time I came back, Olivia felt more like a stranger. Like she was stuck in a script she didn't audition for. She told me once, "I didn't sign up for this." It was after I brought up signing on for another 4 years. She said she was tired of being alone.
I got it. I did. But the Army was the only place I ever truly felt I belonged. I was damn good at it. People leaned on me. By 2019, things were starting to shift again. Quiet, but steady, just like before. It started with the little things. Olivia would get annoyed when I called during her girls' nights. Then she began raving about how her friend had ditched her husband and was now living her best life. She started tossing around lines like, "I don't even know if we have anything in common anymore." I offered counseling. She brushed it off. "We're fine. It's just a rough patch." Then came the late nights at her job. Weekend trips with people I'd never heard of. Trendy new clothes. A gym membership she rarely used but always talked about. I should have said something. Called it out. But that's not me. Never has been. My old man raised me to think before I act. Be sure. So I kept my mouth shut, and I started preparing. Because deep down, my gut was screaming something big was coming. And if there's one thing you learn in this life, it's to trust your gut. 2 weeks after she sent that cold-blooded divorce email, I was in the mess hall, halfway through dinner, when my phone buzzed. Ping from our bank app. Another withdrawal, $88,500. Nearly wiped us clean. And I set my fork down. Open the app. Our joint account, $22.37. Our savings, 47 grand we'd built up over years, gone. All of it. Moved into some account I didn't recognize. Murphy, a guy from my unit, looked over. "Bad news?" I locked my phone. "Nah, just some account stuff." That night, I used the base phone center to call the bank. Turns out, Olivia had been siphoning money for weeks, starting small. Then they got bigger. The big one? It hit the day after I deployed. I hung up and just stood there in the hallway, surrounded by laughter. Guys FaceTiming their kids, joking with their wives, calling their folks. Regular life, still moving. Meanwhile, mine had gone up in flames. That's when Finn showed up. "Heard from Alvarez you look like you'd seen a ghost at dinner," he said. I usually don't talk about personal crap, but Finn once pulled me out of a hairy situation back in Kandahar. He earned my trust. My wife drained our accounts, moved her new guy into our house, filed for divorce while I was out on patrol last week. No pity, no pep talk. Finn just looked me dead in the eye and asked, "What's your plan?" "Not sure yet." He nodded. "Let me know if you need anything." That night, I couldn't sleep. I grabbed my laptop and logged into our home security feed. Probably something Olivia forgot I could still access from halfway around the world. There it was, a random truck, parked in our driveway. A guy I didn't recognize, walking my dog, sipping from my coffee mug, wearing my Seahawks sweatshirt, and Olivia, laughing, in the kitchen. The kitchen I had remodeled myself on my last leave. Something shifted. It wasn't a rage. It was sharper, colder. Focused. I closed the laptop, grabbed my phone, started a list. Call Lucas, Army buddy turned lawyer. Check VA loan terms. Talk to Master Sergeant about emergency leave.
review refinance paperwork. Olivia had mentioned it once offhand. Secure my military pension accounts. I didn't feel sad anymore. Not even mad. Just locked in. Like prepping for a mission.
At 0500, before my shift, I shot off an email to Lucas. Subject: need legal help. Discreet and urgent. He hit me back an hour later. Call me. Secure line only. The second I hung up, I knew exactly what I had to do. No screaming, no fighting, no dramatic confrontations. I just had to sit tight, keep watching, and let Olivia trap herself. 2 months later, I was back in the States. Didn't tell Olivia I'd returned. No texts, no heads up. I checked into a cheap motel in downtown Spokane under a different name. Then I called Lucas. We met up at a rundown diner about 10 miles outside town. "You look like crap," he said, sliding into the booth. "I feel like it," I muttered. He handed me a folder, everything we'd discussed. The deed, the VA loan info, bank statements, and one more document. He said, "Found something shady while digging into your financials." He flipped to a refinance application. It had my name on it, my signature too, except it wasn't mine. Not really. The middle initial was off. The strokes were all wrong.
Olivia did this? I asked. Not because I didn't know. I just needed to hear it out loud. Lucas nodded. 3 months ago, she pulled $330K in equity from the house. That loan requires your signature, since it's under the VA loan in your name. So she forged it, took out a fat loan on my house, drained our accounts, and hit me with divorce papers while I was in the field, I said. Busy damn woman. Lucas leaned in. Oh, it gets better. She listed her boyfriend Troy as the co-applicant. I blinked. Wait, Troy? He nodded. And he's got priors. 2 DUIs, 1 fraud charge from 2019. I exhaled hard. What can I do? You've got options, Lucas said. But first, you need to decide, what do you want? I thought for a second. I want what's mine, and I want her to feel the fallout. Lucas smirked. Then let's make it happen. The next morning, I drove past my house. Troy's truck was gone, but Olivia's car was there. I parked down the street, watched for a while. Thought about storming up and calling her out, but no, that wasn't the move.
Instead, I headed to the bank, met with the loan officer who'd pushed through the refinance, showed him my military ID, my legit signature for my license, and the phony documents. His face turned white. I'll have to report this immediately. I get it, I told him. I already filed a police report. That night, I got a text from Olivia. Who've you been talking to at the bank? Troy says someone's been poking around. I left her on red. Next day, I headed to the county clerk's office, filed a formal contest against the refinance, citing fraud, also registered a legal block, no changes to the property without my signature. 2 days later, Olivia called. Straight to voicemail. Noah, we need to talk. The bank called me about the house. What are you doing? If this is about the divorce, we can discuss it like adults. Like adults, the same phrase she used in that cold-blooded email. Still didn't reply. That afternoon, Lucas called. They froze the refinance funds, he said. And that's not all. Your truck, the one still in your name, guess who was behind the wheel this morning? Let me guess. Troy. Yep. Got pulled over driving on a suspended license, left over from those DUIs. Vehicle's been impounded. Good.
There's more. Cops found prescription pads in the glove box from the dental clinic where Olivia works, and they weren't blank. I closed my eyes. She's been stealing scripts? Looks that way. Cops are digging into it. I hung up, sat on the edge of the motel bed. This was spiraling faster than I thought. Part of me almost picked up the phone to warn her. Old reflex. Then I remembered that camera footage. Troy in my sweatshirt, in my kitchen, laughing with my wife, walking my dog. Nope. That was gone now. This path was already set. And honestly, I didn't want to turn back. Next morning, I met with the bank's fraud investigator, Thompson. Short guy. Looked like he hadn't slept in days. Coffee stain on his tie. He laid out the docs in front of us. "This kind of thing happens more than you'd think," he said, flipping pages. "Spouse goes overseas, the other spouse sees a window." I leaned in. "So what happens now?" He leaned back. "We've frozen the funds from the bogus refinance, but problem is, some of the cash already slipped out." "How much?" "About half. 14.6. I leaned in. "Where the hell did it go?" He hesitated. "Technically, I'm not supposed to disclose that. It's my house, my forged signature, my money." He gave a slow nod, then turned the monitor toward me. "There," he said. "Those are the transfers."
I scanned the screen. Multiple transactions. Not to Troy, not to Olivia, to someone named Matthew Spencer. "Who the hell is Matthew Spencer?" I asked. Thompson shrugged. "Out of my lane. You'll want your attorney to subpoena the records." I walked straight out of the bank and called Lucas. "Matthew Spencer," he repeated. "Give me an hour." When he called back, his voice had changed. "Got him. Real estate agent. Fast turnaround, cash sales. He flips properties. Quiet and fast." I went cold. She was going to sell the house? Looks that way. The payments were likely deposits, earnest money, enough to get him working on a listing. I sank down on a park bench, trying to process the hit. So this wasn't just Olivia running off with a side piece. This was a whole setup. "Could be," Lucas said carefully. I kept digging. "Your boy Troy, he's done this before. He's got a pattern. Hooks up with women in messy divorces or with deployed husbands. 3 similar cases I found. Every time, the woman's house ends up sold off, under market value, to one of Spencer's buyers. He gets a cut, then he disappears." "And Olivia? Did she know about all this?" I asked. Lucas exhaled. "Hard to tell. Maybe she's just another pawn, or maybe she's neck deep in it." I ran a hand down my face. This wasn't just Olivia cheating anymore. This was calculated, bigger, structured. And worse, I wasn't the only target. Other military families had already been hit. So what's next? I've already looped in the FBI, Financial Crimes Division. This crosses state lines, military personnel, VA loans. Yeah, they're interested.
That night, I sat in my motel room with a beer, just staring into space, wondering if Olivia had been scamming me since day one, or if she just got swept into Troy's mess. Either way, did it even matter now? My phone buzzed. A message from her. "Noah, please call me. The bank is saying something about fraud, and Troy got arrested in your truck. I don't know what's going on." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, "Who is Matthew Spencer?" She started typing, stopped, started again, stopped. Finally, "I don't know what you're talking about." I fired back, $14,600, multiple transfers, house listing. 10 minutes of silence. Then, "It's not what you think." I turned off my phone and went to sleep. Next morning, Lucas called. "FBI wants a meeting. They've had eyes on Troy and Matthew for months. You're not the first. But your case might be the one that blows it wide open." And for the first time since that soul-killing email in the desert, I felt something close to satisfaction. Not because my marriage was dead, but because the truth was finally clawing its way into the light. I met with the FBI agents at their Spokane field office, Agent Aaron and Agent Joel. They sat me down, hit record, and went over everything. Took copies of every document Lucas and I had dug up. "Your case helps establish a clear pattern," Agent Aaron said. "It proves intent, coordination. That makes this a conspiracy, not just a few shady incidents." "What about Olivia, my wife? Ex-wife, I guess." The agents exchanged a glance. "We're still figuring out her role," Joel said carefully. "Did she ever mention financial stress, needing to sell the house?" I thought back. She did keep saying we were house poor, always pushing the idea of downsizing. But our mortgage was fine. I could handle it. Aaron jotted something down. "When did that start?" "About 6 months ago. Around the time she probably met Troy and the refinance got rolling."
She never talked to you about any of it? No, she forged my signature while I was deployed. They asked more, dug deeper, took more notes. When it was done, Erin handed me her card. "We'll stay in touch. For now, don't reach out to your wife or Troy. We need time to build this case properly." I nodded. Understood. That night, I drove back near our neighborhood, parked a few houses down. Troy's truck was in the driveway. Guess he'd managed to get it out of impound. Olivia's car wasn't there. Then my phone buzzed. "We need to talk in person. Meet me at Riverfront Park tomorrow. Olivia." I showed the message to Lucas over breakfast. "Don't go," he said flatly. "Nothing good's coming out of a face-to-face right now." "I'm not," I told him, "but I do want to see what she's really up to while she thinks I'll be waiting." So we drove to the house at 9:30 a.m., parked across the street. At 9:45 on the dot, Olivia walked out, got in her car, and took off, headed toward Riverfront Park. Lucas glanced over. "Now what?" "Now," I said, "we watch." A car rolled up. Real estate logo slapped on the side. "Matthew." Troy stepped out to greet him. The two of them chatted in the driveway, then walked right into my house. Lucas looked at me. "We tailing them?" I shook my head. "No need. I installed security cams last year, inside and out. Everything backs up to the cloud." He raised an eyebrow. "You kept that quiet." "Never came up," I muttered, already pulling out my phone. I opened the security app and turned the screen toward Lucas. There they were, Matthew and Troy, walking through my living room like they owned the place. Matthew was snapping listing photos. Troy was pointing at details like he built it himself. I turned up the audio. Matthew was saying, "Should have this listed by the end of the week. Got a buyer already. Cash, like always." "How much?" Troy asked. "We'll list at $470. He offers $420. Everybody walks away happy." "And the husband?" "Olivia says he's making noise," Matthew replied, waving his hand like I was an annoying mosquito. "But military guys always do. They bark, but they've got deployments and obligations. He'll settle, just to make it go away." I turned to Lucas. "You getting all of this?" He was already recording the live feed on his phone. I forwarded the footage directly to Agent Aaron with 2 words: "Happening now." 30 minutes later, unmarked FBI vehicles boxed in the house. I watched from down the street as Agent stormed in and walked Matthew and Troy out in handcuffs. My phone rang. "Agent Aaron. We've got them on tape, outlining the fraud, the conspiracy, even attempted property sale under false pretense. Solid charges. We'll need a formal statement from you." "Of course," I said. "And Mr. Briggs," she added, "your wife just showed up. She's visibly distressed." I glanced down the street. Olivia was standing on the front lawn, hands clamped over her mouth, watching FBI agents haul box after box of documents out of our home. "What happens to her?" I asked. "That depends," Agent Aaron said, "on what she knew and on what you want." I kept my eyes on Olivia for a long moment. 13 years of marriage, some of them good, before everything curdled. "I just want what's right," I said quietly.
The case moved fast after that. Troy and Matthew both folded, cut deals, turned on each other and a few other names in what turned out to be a multi-state scam targeting military families. Olivia claimed she was in the dark, said Troy convinced her I'd been hiding money, planning to leave her penniless, said the refinance was all his idea and she just went along. Maybe that was true. Maybe it wasn't. Either way, she signed a settlement. Full restitution of every stolen dollar, zero claim to the house or my pension, and a written confession admitting she forged my signature. In return, I didn't press charges. 6 months after that email from Kandahar, the divorce was finalized. Clean cut, no fault, no fighting left. All things considered, I got out better than most. I got the call from Agent Aaron.
Troy Ryan got sentenced today, she said. 8 years. Fraud, conspiracy, identity theft. Matthew Spencer got 12. Thought you'd want to know. Thanks, I said. There's more, she added. We uncovered evidence they targeted at least 11 other military families. Your case helped us establish the pattern. Those families might actually recover their losses. Because of you. After we hung up, I sat out on the porch of my rental, sun dipping low, just thinking about all those other guys. Husbands who deployed thinking their homes, their marriages were safe, only to come back to ashes. I hadn't meant to be the one to crack open Troy and Matthew's little empire. I just wanted what was mine. But sometimes, life hands you a bigger fight. My phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. I never meant for things to end like this. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. A year later, I sold the house. Couldn't take it anymore. Too many ghosts. Too much rot soaked into the walls. I used the cash to buy a small cabin out near Missoula, Montana. 2 bedrooms, 10 acres, and a creek running through the back. No neighbors, no noise. I filed for early retirement. 20 years in uniform. That was enough. I'd given what I had. Got a dog, German Shepherd. Named him Scout. Picked up carpentry gigs for locals. Simple stuff. Kept my hands busy. The military pension took care of the rest. Sometimes I thought about Olivia, wondered where she landed. Lucas mentioned she moved back to Oregon, working front desk at another dental clinic. Starting over, I guess.
But I didn't hate her. Not anymore. Truth is, I didn't feel much at all. She made her choices, I made mine. One evening, I got a letter from a woman in Fort Worth. Her husband had been deployed with the Navy when Troy and Matthew tried to run their scam on her. The FBI gave her my name. You don't know me, she wrote, but you saved our home. Thank you for standing your ground when it would have been easier to give up. I read it twice, then pinned it on my fridge. On the days when the silence felt too heavy, when the past crept back in, I'd read that letter and remember. Something good came from all the wreckage. Last I heard, Troy was still behind bars. Matthew too. For once, the system actually worked. As for me, I'm still out here. Quiet mornings, steady days. Building something that can't be stolen, forged, or broken. Something that's just mine.